When gladiators square off in the cage or ring, or whatever the venue of the combative sport is, they do so with the intent to knock out their opponents. Sometimes it all happens in a jiffy and the party is over as soon as the impact of the punch or kick is felt. But other times the reaction is delayed for a few seconds before the victim hits the deck. Of course, the sight of a fighter going into hibernation for some seconds before eventually reacting to a KO is entertaining, and it's something that any fan would love to see on a typical fight night. So today, we'll be walking down memory lane to reveal the top 10 delayed reaction knockouts in the history of UFC and boxing. Without further ado, let the countdown begin. Number 10. Pernell Whitaker vs. Juan Nazario. On the 11th of August 1990, Pernell Whitaker had an iconic bout with the WBA lightweight title holder at the time, Juan Nazario. Whitaker himself was the unified IBF and WBC title holder, so the clash at Caesars Tahoe in State Line, Nevada was a rare chance to become the undisputed champion in the lightweight division. It was bound to be a feisty matchup, but a one-hitter quitter is something that most punters and even both boxers wouldn't have expected, especially because of Pernell Whitaker's reputation as a soft boxer. His slick movements, great defense, and sublime boxing skills were never in doubt, but understandably, everyone knew it was always going to take a hard bit to send Juan Nazario to the canvas. And that's exactly what Whitaker produced 2 minutes 59 seconds into the bout. In a swift move, Whitaker landed a perfectly timed left punch on Nazario, who initially looked like he was good to carry on. But as he tried to move his legs, it was obvious his mind and body were in conflict. Juan Nazario looked stunned for a few seconds before he dropped to the ground, and by the time referee Mills Lane had counted to 10, the former Olympic champion was still rooted to the same spot. Number 9. Edson Barboza vs. Shane Burgos. A 5-second knockout delay is probably one of the strangest occurrences you'd ever see in UFC, but Edson Barboza treated us to a special during his UFC 262 fight against Shane Burgos. The Brazilian pulled off a cracking combination that included a jab, a duck, and a right cross in the third round, and it was just about enough to send Shane Burgos home in style. At first, Burgos appeared to eat the shot, but after 5 seconds of play, acting like he was fine, his legs shut off, causing him to crash backwards into the cage. Speaking about the incident, Dr. Brian Sutterer explained that the impact of the hit was certainly hard enough to instantly knock out Shane Burgos. In fact, the doctor believes that Burgos immediately suffered a concussion, but somehow his body didn't act on it until 5 seconds later. Number 8. Luis Nery and Brandon Figueroa. Not too long ago, two undefeated fighters, Luis Nery and Brandon Figueroa, locked horns in a crazy bout of boxing. In a bid to maintain their unblemished record, the two boxers went in hard on themselves. Jabs were flying all around with reckless abandon, and it seemed like both sides had forgotten how to defend. However, Figueroa had the better composure on the day, landed the better punches, and consequently emerged the winner. But not without a stellar show. When the fierce boxer landed a strong body shot on Luis Nery in the 7th round, it looked like the non-stop punishing bout would continue until the very end, where the result would be decided by points. But little did the spectators know that Nery's body was gradually shutting down, and it eventually gave way a few seconds later. Number 7. Mike Tyson vs. Trevor Berbick. As one of the most brutal fighters of all time, it's only fair that Mike Tyson is featured on this list. At his peak, Tyson was a beast in the ring. He completed all types of knockouts, but one that will be remembered forever is the delayed knockout of Trevor Berbick. Iron Mike, as he is fondly called, was only 20 at the time, but he was already a boxing sensation that was touted for greatness. And if there was any doubt about this, it was put to bed on the 22nd of November, 1986, when Tyson stepped into the ring to challenge Trevor Berbick, the heavyweight title holder at the time. Tyson wasted no time in making his intentions known, throwing well-aimed missiles from the very first second of the bout. By the time the first round ended, Berbick's resilience had waned so badly, and he looked to be surviving on extra life. But he emerged for the second round to meet an even more determined Mike Tyson. The bout was effectively over as soon as Tyson delivered a left hook to send his prey to the ground. As if the effect of the punch wasn't lethal enough, Berbick awkwardly hit the back of his head on the canvas. In fairness to the Jamaican, he showed some fighting spirit by attempting to stand up 3 times, and he did find his footing on the 3rd try, but clearly he wasn't fit enough to continue. And referee Mills Lane was gracious enough to put an end to his misery 2 minutes 35 seconds into the 2nd round. Number 6. Charles Oliveira and Cub Swanson. For our next delayed knockout reaction, we go way back to 2012 when Charles Oliveira squared up against Cub Swanson and was totally annihilated by a wicked punch that took 3 seconds to take effect. Charles was clearly stunned by the impact of the punch, but he managed to keep his calm for the whole of 3 seconds before showing symptoms of hibernation. And thankfully, Swanson was kind enough not to inflict additional punishment on his prey during this hibernation period. Else it could have been an entirely different story. Number 5. Alexander Dmytrenko versus Leon Krasniqi. At number 5, we've got Alexander Dmytrenko versus Leon Krasniqi. Both fighters clashed in a classic bout in 2008, and Krasniqi's delayed KO reaction dominated the headlines for weeks, even more than the result on the night. For Leon Krasniqi, the disappointment of the loss would have been a difficult pill to swallow. However, Dmytrenko's laughing reaction as he walked back to his corner would have been more hurtful to his ego. He certainly wouldn't want to see that again. Number 4. Michael Perez versus Miguel Rodriguez. This feisty exchange between Michael Perez and Miguel Rodriguez emphasizes the importance of body shots in boxing. Perez was on the receiving end of 3 well-taken body shots, but ironically, he only had to land 1 successful shot to decide the outcome of the bout. Perhaps on another day, it could have been just another body shot delivered in the 1st round where boxers are still expected to be in good shape. However, in this instance, it carried so much power and was delivered with such precision that Miguel Rodriguez couldn't recover from. Number 3. Nick Diaz versus Paul Daley. Our 3rd entry is quite confusing. Nick Diaz seemed to be well in control of the bout, delivering shot after shot against his opponent. But Daley found some composure and looked to be orchestrating a fight back, only for Diaz to deliver a wicked right cross that didn't immediately take effect. But once it did, Daley was left in no man's land. Number 2. Ricardo Lopez versus Ala Villamor. Ricardo Lopez had a hugely successful fighting career, where he didn't lose a single fight. One of his most iconic victories was the delayed reaction KO victory against Ala Villamor. At first, the winning shot looked to have been misdirected, but somehow it landed cleanly on Villamor's face, causing him to stutter and collapse helplessly on the canvas 2 seconds later. Number 1. Tim Sylvia versus Ray Mercer. Closing out our list is Ray Mercer's non-instant strike against Tim Sylvia in what went down as one of the weirdest fights in UFC history. Mercer, a former heavyweight champion, was paired against MMA legend Tim Sylvia in a brutal UFC showdown back in June 2009. Initially, the clash was intended to be a boxing event. However, a change in regulation by the Association of Boxing Commissions forced the promoter to have a change of heart and switch the clash to an MMA fight. But it didn't stop the merciless Ray Mercer from destroying his opponent. The American met his opponent's chin with a powerful right jab that ended the fight in just 9 seconds, excluding the 1-second delay reaction from Sylvia before he hit the canvas. In your opinion, which of these delayed reaction knockouts is the most thrilling? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more exciting countdowns like this.